Sir, you're charged with a Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy
They
there.
got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the tape.
Dr. V, Anglican,
Is that correct?
I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict.
I think I'm about to catch a whooping.
About to
If
catch
I
a whooping.
didn't, I would lose my mind.
All right, good to be here. Happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome everyone, especially welcome to Greeners. First in chat this morning with the V. He almost was first in chat with the super chat.
Alex stolen as well.
Probably the closest we've ever had to a super chat being the first message. Greeners was first. One other person came in, then Greeners gave a super chat. So he was basically second in chat with the super chat, even though it's the third comment down. Congratulations, Greeners. That's nearly a win. You can't count it, but it's close. And they say what? Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. But good job. Thank you, by the way. Appreciate your support. Love that you're here. Greeners, one of the great ones. Longtime supporter of the channel. Appreciate you very much. All right. We've made it to the weekend. It's a Friday. Oh, let's see what's going on. We have the Ashley Benefield trial is happening today, right? That's what we're doing. So
Shame on you, sir.
Let's see, super source on. We've got our counter. We're gonna tie that. Oh, that's the wrong button.
I think I'm about to catch a whooping.
I'm about to catch a whooping. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, so things are just starting to take shape in the court this morning.
Bring the jury.
The bailiffs are standing around. Judge is already on the bench reading his homework, getting caught up. I need a chance to make it 11th in chat. Hello, Mel.
I saw a chicken fight.
Saw a chicken fighting. Let's see, Jules says, I had a conversation with Tommy Benefield. Oh, wow. Yes, he was released from his service, so that's cool. That's cool. Buffer, we have some birthdays to celebrate before we begin with court. So as people come in. There's Jules. Jules is already there. She beat me. She beat me here. I would have been on time. I promise I would have been on time, but apparently our power went out last night. I, for some reason, am not smart enough to save the last used state of my switchers for the firmware. If I did that, then anytime you turn it off and turn it back on, it would be exactly how it was when you turned it off. That's how it should be, but we'll wait. They've got just a minute before they go live. I should have, but the power went off, and so it defaults to like the factory shipped state, and so all my windows and switchers and everything.
This is not Burger King. People do
completely
not
wrong.
get to have it their way.
So
Have them send someone with more
all
experience.
right. Jules put it in chat earlier. Check.
I was kicked back, taking it easy.
We have to sing to the birthday people who I just lost, by the way. Hang on one second. I will find it again. Jules says... Jules needs you to check your phone. There's that.
I think I'm about to catch a whooping.
I'm about to catch a whooping. Okay. There we go. Awesome. Thank you, Jules. I appreciate that. Let's see. I've checked the phone. I've got the message from her. That's a big thumbs up. I'm aware. All right. Okay, we've got to sing birthdays. We sing to everyone who has a birthday in the morning, and I cannot find it. Sharon, can you help me out again? I can't find the birthday message. Oh, there it is. I found it. Never mind. I'm good. She's probably sending it right now because there's a little bit of a delay. We're going to sing happy birthday, and then we're going to jump back into court. Audio's turned on, so if they start without us, they'll just interrupt. Everybody stand up where you are. Take a deep breath. Shoulders back. Project your voice to the back of the room. Blend your voice with other neighbors. Warm up with me if you would. La 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 la. There we go. We're going to sing to Lynn, Lonnie, and Mary, all celebrating their birthday today, and then we're going to kick off court with this trial, so we'll watch the proceedings as they happen. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lynn, Lonnie, and Mary. Happy birthday to you. Apparently shots were fired by the ship cannon mid-birthday song. But
off to talk to Miss Brown.
The judge is starting as we turn the music down.
Are there any matters that need to be brought up before we bring the jury in?
The music stops, so the party does not stop. Help yourself to free pancakes at Denny's. Thanks for being with us, Lynn, Lonnie, and Mary. Have a wonderful birthday.
I'm not sure if they're up yet.
Here we go.
Right. We're a few minutes early, but we'll go ahead and get started. Go ahead and bring them in.
Wow. The judge is early. Whenever is the judge early? Objection counter starting today at 1:37. It was a quiet day for objections yesterday. Not nearly like the first or the second day of the trial. Not many people in court yet. It's still early. They weren't supposed to start for another 6 minutes. Yeah, all my audio reset. I don't have the same filters on. Let's see. A little better. Jennifer Juniper gifted a membership this morning, as did Lucy Snakes Will Hiss. Thank you very much.
You know the usual questions. Did anybody discuss the case amongst yourselves or begin deliberations? Did anybody talk with anybody outside of this jury about the case or do any research on the people, places, things, or legal topics we've heard anything about?
No, sir.
When you left yesterday, the state had rested its case. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Judge White. We call Faith Brown.
Faith Brown, I believe. Now, my understanding is she's the judicial assistant that had the email exchange with Miss Murphy.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Amanda H.
Just please make yourself comfortable in that chair. Pull yourself up to about 12 to 15 inches from the microphone. It does adjust up, down, left, right, however you need it. If you just speak in a loud, clear voice, it'll pick everything up.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Will you tell us your name, spell your last name for the court reporter?
Faith Brown, B-R-O-W-N.
Ms. Brown, are you employed?
Yes,
How?
I am an attorney.
Oh,
And how long have you been practicing?
I was wrong.
Not quite 20 years.
Do you have a specialty?
I practice exclusively family law.
And in your practice of family law, is email communications traditionally used on behalf of you and your firm?
On a day, yes.
Okay. Do email communications, are they employed in correspondence with the various courts that you have matters pending in?
Yes.
Is the exchange directly with the judge or a representative?
The representative.
And their title is what?
Judicial assistant, or JA.
And these emails, Ms. Brown, are they ordinarily sent and received in the normal course of business for your firm?
Yes.
And are they kept under your care and custody?
Yes.
Are the emails preserved at or about the time that they are either received or sent?
Yes.
I'm going to pass to you, Ms. Brown. May I, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I'm going to pass you what I marked as Defendant's Exhibit 6 and ask you if you would take a moment and review that. Just give me a moment. I'm going to show it to the prosecutors. While they're reviewing that, in September of 2020, were you representing Ashley Benefield?
I was.
In family court?
Yes, I was.
And what case do the contents of Defendant's Exhibit 6 represent?
This was in reference to the petition for injunction for protection against domestic violence that I filed on behalf of Ashley Benefield and her daughter, Emerson Canny.
All right. Are those emails an accurate, true and accurate reproduction of the emails that you sent and received on that day or those days?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, I'd move at this time to introduce that as Defendant's Exhibit number 6 into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
Received.
Thank you. That is a string of emails that covers a range of dates?
Yes, it is.
Would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Ms. Brown, what date the first email starts on?
Sure. The first date was September 17th of 2020.
And when is the last email?
The last email is when I forwarded the email to my client, Ashley Benefield, on September 23rd, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. But are you referencing the last email between the three of us in the email?
My next question indeed is, would you be kind enough to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury who were the participants in this string of emails?
The participants in the stream of emails was Vicki Mechanic, who was the judicial assistant to Judge Diana Moreland, who was the judge presiding over this matter, Stephanie Murphy, who was representing Douglas Benefield, and myself.
And it's normal and customary, is it not, to the extent Ms. Murphy would be representing the adverse party, that you would share all correspondence with her between you and the judicial assistant?
Yes, it was a requirement.
Okay. Do you recall, having reviewed the email, was there a particular issue in play?
Yes.
What was it?
We were trying to, initially, we were trying to stipulate to the release of Dr. Brad Broder's report.
And were you attempting to secure a date to do that?
Yes, we were. Well, eventually.
Okay. So I have some very specific questions for you. First, would you tell us whether or not, based on that correspondence, Dr. Broder's report was set for release on September 30th, 2020?
It was not.
In fact, based on those emails between you, Stephanie Murphy, and Judge Moreland's JA, was there even a date that existed at that time for the release of Dr. Broder's report?
There was not.
If somebody testified that the release of Dr. Broder's report was set for September 30th, would that be accurate?
Improper impeachment.
Oh, sustained.
Would you take a moment, if you don't mind, and read the emails?
Sure.
Objection.
Did you want me to read them out loud or to myself?
Yes, read them out loud and start with the string in chronological order. It covers a 6-day period. 17th to the 23rd.
The 17th to the 23rd, yes. The first email was on September 17th of 2020. It was a Thursday, from Attorney Stephanie Murphy to Family Division 4, which was the judicial assistant's email address. I was CC'd on it, as well as my paralegal's email address, Sarah Hawk at myflfamilies.com, and Dr. Brad Broder. It states, "Good afternoon, Vicki. I hope you are doing well and have had a good week. Please see the attached joint motion for release of psychological evaluation and report and correspondence regarding same with regard to the above referenced case. Thank you, Stephanie." Shortly thereafter, same day, the judicial assistant responded, "Received, thank you. Can one of you kindly prepare a proposed order in case the judge wishes to grant your motion?"
There's Eva.
About 30 minutes later, Ms. Murphy
Benefield right there in the picture.
Responded, "Thank you, Vicki. I will work on that right now and send it to Ms. Brown for her approval." The next morning, Friday the 18th at 10:18 a.m., we received a response from the judicial assistant, marked importance high, that stated, "Good morning, Ms. Murphy and Ms. Brown. Per the judge, she will not sign an ex parte order for release of psychological evaluation and report. The judge will allow an expedited hearing on this motion. I have available Wednesday, September 23rd at 9 a.m. for 30 minutes. However, besides both attorneys being present, the judge has stated that Dr. Broder and Manatee Children's Services must be present at the hearing as well." And "must be present at the hearing as well" is underlined. Further, Ms. Murphy, the judge stated that absent showing where the court granted permission for the other motions stated in your September 17th letter to her, the only, and only is underlined, matter being heard on September 30th day is the injunction hearing. And then The next sentence is also underlined. Please advise whether Wednesday, September 23rd will work for all parties. Thank you, Vicki Mechanic, Judicial Assistant to Judge Moreland. A few minutes later, Attorney Murphy responded with an email that said, thank you so much for all of this information, Vicki. I admit that I did not go back to check what is scheduled for that hearing, so please accept my apology. In my mind, these cases have always overlapped so much that I just took it for granted that the upcoming hearing is just the DVI. I am available for that hearing. I will contact Dr. Broder, and we are trying to track down the correct attorney who represents Manatee County. Sarah Hawk, it appears, represents Sarasota only. The next email was actually from my assistant at the admin email address, because she handles my calendar, September 18th at 10:58 a.m., where she stated, Ms. Brown is available at 9 a.m., however, she has mediation starting at 9:30. The next email was about 2 minutes later from the JA, stating, if this goes forward on the 23rd, it shall be via Zoom. Then at 2:09 p.m., Attorney Murphy emailed, good afternoon, Vicki. Ms. Brown and I are both available next Wednesday at 9 a.m. on Zoom. Dr. Broder is not available as he is out of town on an anniversary vacation with his wife. I have calls into 3 different people with Manatee Children's Legal Services, including the DCF regional headquarters, to find out who needs to be included from the organization in the hearing. We have been directed and redirected to the wrong people several times. Can we go ahead and set the hearing? The next email was about 15 minutes later from the JA stating, good afternoon. No, per my email to you both this morning, the judge stated that Dr. Broder must be present at the hearing. Vicki. So that was Friday the 18th. The next email was Tuesday, September 22nd at 2:20 from Stephanie Murphy, where she wrote, good afternoon, Vicki. Dr. Broder never got back to me regarding whether he could appear at the hearing even by audio only while he is on vacation. So I wanted to let you know that per your prior emails, we cannot have the hearing tomorrow morning. When Dr. Broder did speak with Attorney Faith Brown on Friday, he told her that he would be returning Wednesday night. Is there any chance that Judge Moreland could schedule the hearing for Thursday? We will be in mediation in this case, but we can take a break to do the Zoom hearing.
And what is the JA, Ms. Mechanic's response to that request?
Unfortunately, no. The judge has a full docket on Thursday, and even if she didn't, Manatee Children's Services would need to be present as well.
All right.
Okay, so Miss Murphy lied? That's what we're getting out of here?
That was Tuesday, September 22nd. So then on Wednesday, September 23rd at 1:02 p.m., Ms. Murphy, Attorney Murphy, wrote, good afternoon, Vicki. I've spoken with Attorney Kimberly Griffin, who represents CPS, and who confirmed that she is the attorney who will need to be present for the hearing per Judge Moreland's instructions. Now that we know who the hearing needs to be coordinated with and Dr. Broder is returning tonight, can you please forward additional hearing dates and times for this matter? To which
Florida doesn't need to prove motive.
The judicial assistant responded.
Not sure why it's such a big deal.
About 30 minutes later, 25 minutes, or excuse me, 25 minutes later. Unfortunately, there is no availability before the injunction date of the 30th.
All right. Was there anything unclear about the fact that the only thing being heard on September 30th, 2020 was the injunction?
No.
Was there any chance, under any circumstances, Dr. Broder's report was going to be released on September 30th, 2020?
No.
I don't believe I have anything further, Your Honor.
Cross?
Yes. I just went through these emails along with you, and you say it's very clear that the release of the report was not going to be heard on the 30th. In reading this, it's hard to get that because the last email says, unfortunately, there's no availability before the injunction date of the 30th. But that still means if the attorney got the doctor and the appropriate people present, that it maybe could be heard on that date, correct?
No.
Okay, so it was your understanding it was not going to happen?
Correct.
All right. What was your understanding of what was going to happen on that date, on the 30th?
The injunction for protection against domestic violence hearing was going to be held that afternoon.
Okay, so you were going to call witnesses, you were prepared to call witnesses?
Yes.
Okay, and have a full hearing on Ashley Benefield's motion to get an injunction against Doug Benefield. What?
But there was objection beyond the scope.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
So the hearing on 9/30 was, in your opinion, only to hear the motion to get an injunction that was filed by Ashley Benefield against Doug Benefield, and that was the only thing to be heard on that day?
Correct.
Okay. And wasn't it true that previously you had agreed to drop that injunction?
It's sustained.
Scope.
No further questions.
That's all, just a request to publish the email.
Absolutely. By passing? Okay. And can this witness be released?
Yes.
And can the witness be released?
Yes, Judge.
Ma'am, you're released from your subpoena. You're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. No,
I'm so sorry.
Pass it around.
Thank you.
State did bomb the cross there, just a little bit. The closest they got was they got her to say, so it was your understanding from those emails that that's what was happening. But she's like, yeah, that's what was happening. Something else was happening. It was scheduled. So all that was just to prove that the lady in pink, Miss Murphy, lied about the schedule, about when that report was going to be released, which has been like a main point in the state's timeline and reasoning for what happened. Jury is in today. Yes, it's going to be a full day with the jury. They did release her. She's a lawyer. I mean, she doesn't really. She's not a pawn in this. She was a player. They don't really have anything useful that they could get from her that would be admissible in court beyond what they just got. They can't pry into the relationship between her and her client. They're not going to go deep into the lawsuit or the case that happened outside of this trial. They will not recall. Will they recall the lady in pink, Miss Murphy? Possibly. But she was adamant that she was not lying before. I don't know what else you would get from that, other than to try to rub her nose in it. They've done what they need to with the jury. They've shown the jury that she was probably less than truthful. Jewel's putting on the Recovery Addict hoodie. It's awesome. I say lied because she said that it was agreed that it was going to happen, and from what we heard from the judicial assistant in the email and what we heard from the attorney, so two of the other parties in the conversation, it seems that was a no. It was not going to happen. So maybe her understanding was wrong. So it removes the intent from her inaccurate response. That was probably some of the least spicy impeachment we've ever seen. I just went back and watched the replay of Jules putting on her jacket, and she picks it up and holds it up. It says Recovery Addicts on the back. I'm going to have to screenshot that. Thank you, Jules. The delay right now is that Mr. Taylor asked to publish that email chain by passing it out to the jury. So everything we just heard read is now being passed out, like one copy, around the jury. So it's going to take a minute for them to get through this. The sweatshirt that Jules has is a custom designed sweatshirt. I think it's available for other people to buy because we had to put it in the shop so that I could order it and send it to her. But it has her name on it. But it's the color scheme and everything is custom just for her. Ashley says, "I want a custom hoodie." The holdup is the jury is passing around the email and flipping through the pages right now. 9 people looking at 7 days of an email chain. It's going to take just a minute. Tyrone, I think it is important. I think it's important to the jury to see that that something the state said was a fact might not be such. That it might not be as they said it was. There's not a lot that Ashley can dispute with the case, and so anytime there's a discrepancy, if they can highlight that, it definitely does help her defense and go to reasonable doubt. Sorry, I'll be quiet. Jules is following all the rules. Jules is very familiar with courtrooms. She's been a court watcher. She's been in a lot of courtrooms, spends a lot of time in court. So she follows the rules. She's doing what she's allowed to do in a manner that won't distract. This disagreement about what was on the schedule is not something she would lose her law license over. There's not going to be like a report it to the bar type thing.
While they're finishing up, can the attorneys approach for me?
Jules told us the other day that she did register as media with the court. She is reporting for us, so she is a reporter there in the courtroom. So she's done everything properly to get that lined up. So she is allowed to use her phone for that. And she's also, just a big shout out to Jules, first of all. She's reporting for us, for Melanie Little, and she's on with Ada K in the evenings with a wrap up. So she's pulling like triple duty on this one. Army Mom, you're in luck. If you just want to go sit in with the court and listen, almost every court, except for some family courts and some, are going to be open to the public. It's harder if you want to go sit in there and record them or get video out of them. That's where it gets tricky. What I would do is I'd go down and talk to the court clerk and just ask and say, where can I see the docket and see the upcoming cases? A lot of places in North Carolina, a lot of courts, you can register an email and they will send you a text with everything that's happening, everything that's coming up on the docket. I get that locally from my area as well. And you'll just see what the cases are. And if there's one that interests you, you're free to just go in and sit down. Just make sure you understand the rules in court, because the judge is the king or the queen of the courtroom. And what they say goes. So if they say don't wear any logos, you don't wear any logos. If they say, no phones, no computers, not even in your pocket, honor that, respect that. You don't want to find yourself in contempt. I highly recommend going and doing it. You'll find that it's sometimes very boring and also just amazing. There's like, how did I not know all this was happening in my neighborhood, like in my local courthouse? Stone houses, yes, great question. Jury is 7 women and 2 men, total of 9. There will be 6 that deliberate. In Florida, they have 6 that deliberate for this crime. And I would say age-wise, the majority of the jurors are leaning to more in the later part of adult life, so probably not children at home. Ted is reading the emails now. I love this. Ted was the juror who had the questionnaire with the judge, that had the exchange with the judge about what happened on lunch with the restaurant. Do we know why she wasn't charged with murder 1? In my opinion, I would say that the hardest thing to prove was premeditation, the planning that would go into it. If there were searches, how to hide a body, how to get rid of, how to kill a husband and get away with it. That sort of search on the Google, that would be a little more telling. That would show the premeditation. But it's something the state has to prove as an element of the crime. And it's difficult. Check text. I'm looking. Yes, Lauren, we read that. We read the other side of this exchange out of the Maya trial. They really should have made copies for each of the jurors. Why does it sound like someone's in the shower? Either they have a white noise machine that is running water, or all the hard surfaces you see, like the flat wood surfaces, the walls, the hard floors, are reflecting sounds, and they reflect high-pitched sounds very well. So every paper rustle sort of just bounces around the room, and it sounds like water. It's a terrible environment for recording audio. Verdict does have to be unanimous in this.
the jury has completed their review of Defendant's Exhibit 6. Mr. Taylor, your next witness.
Yes, sir. The defense calls Ashley Benefield.
She's testifying. Look at that. Slowly, she's taking the stand.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
This is the missing piece. She's not spoken to anyone about this.
Good morning, Ms. Benefield. As you've heard me tell other witnesses, just make yourself comfortable in that chair. Get about 12 to 15 inches from the microphone. It does adjust up, down, left to right. And if you speak in a loud, clear voice, the electronics will pick up everything.
Okay.
Mr. Taylor.
Good morning. Will you tell us your full name and spell your last name, please?
Ashley Christina Benefield, Benefield.
How are you feeling this morning, Ashley?
Nervous.
All right. Try best you can to relax, and we'll get through this.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit, Ashley, about where you were born and raised.
I was born in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I grew up in Annapolis, Maryland.
What type of family values were instilled in you?
Objection, relevant.
Overruled.
I believe in the importance of kindness and compassion, empathy, honesty, hard work, accountability.
What type of work did your father do?
Objection, relevant.
I'll allow it.
My dad was a Naval Academy graduate who was a Navy pilot and then started flying privately for the airlines, which is what he still does.
And how about your mom?
When I was born, my parents decided that my mom would stay home to take care of me full time since my dad traveled so much.
I want to ask you a few questions about your childhood. Did you have any siblings?
I grew up an only child.
Were your parents active in your development as a child?
Yes, they were very active in my schooling and supportive of my pursuit of the arts.
Hold on 1 second, I'm sorry. We need some, get some headsets.
She's too quiet. The jury can't hear her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I misunderstood. All right, Ms. Benefield, yeah, if you could scoot a little bit closer and speak up so the jury can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Do the best.
I apologize. Go ahead, sir.
Sure, do the best you can, Ashley.
Okay.
Do you have any hobbies?
I love art. I like drawing, painting, sculpting, ballet. I enjoy gardening, baking, cooking. Most importantly, I'm a mom.
What type of high school did you attend?
Objection.
I'm going to sustain at this point.
I'm trying to establish her ballet, Your Honor.
All right. If it's related to something specific, then yes.
Sir. Thank you. Tell us about your high school, Ashley.
I went to a small private Christian school.
And did you study anything in particular in high school?
I was focused on pursuing ballet.
And was ballet a large part of your curriculum when you were in high school?
Yes, I danced full time. I actually finished my last few credits my senior year with an accredited homeschool program for athletes, so I could dance during the day.
Do you still dance professionally?
No.
Why not?
I retired after I tore my hamstring.
I want to ask you about Doug. When did the two of you meet?
We met August 25th of 2016.
Those are daggers.
And tell us what your impression of him was when you met.
He was very confident in who he was, passionate about what he was doing for work. He was fascinating to talk to.
What was it, if you recall in particular, that attracted you to him, Ashley?
He was funny, very smart, charming. We just instantly clicked.
Was Doug in the military?
Yes, just like my dad, he was in naval aviation.
Did he turn out to be who you thought he was?
No, not at all.
I want to direct your attention, Ashley, now, if I can, to the day of the homicide, September 27, 2020.
Okay.
Specifically late in the afternoon. Would you tell us why Doug was at your home?
He came over to help load some of the larger items that my mom and I had kind of pre-staged in the garage into the U-Haul truck.
And were there any discussions between the two of you about the order that these things should be placed in the back of the truck?
Yes, we had discussed that my things would be going in last, right at the front, so they would be easy to get out first. At one point, he had me help him load one of the larger pieces into the back of the U-Haul truck, and when I was up in the truck with him, I realized that everything had been all mixed together and it was no longer separated. And I pointed that out to him, and he got really offended and upset. He said, "It shouldn't be your stuff, your house, my house."
Was there a particular demand he made at that time?
He said I needed to start acting like a wife.
Tell us at that point how you chose to deal with him.
I tried to change the subject. I could see how upset he was getting. So I wanted to kind of alleviate that.
And how was Doug reacting to your efforts to do that?
He was getting more upset and aggressive and threatening.
Do you attempt to avoid confrontation with him?
Yes.
What do?
I was trying to get him to leave. I kept suggesting that maybe we should be done, saying I was tired. We should just wrap it up for the day.
And what was Doug's reaction to that effort?
He heard me, but he completely disregarded what I was saying.
Ashley, would you tell us if there came a time shortly thereafter where there was physical contact between the two of you?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
We were in the living room, and as he came up to me, instead of walking past me, he walked right into me, like a body check. He thumped me.
His shoulder to your shoulder?
Yes.
And describe for us, if you can, the force of the bump.
It caught me off guard. I almost fell. I stumbled.
How was he acting at that point?
He was clearly hostile. He was mumbling under his breath and was glaring at me.
What was your concern?
I could see that it was escalating, and I didn't want him to blow up at me.
Was there a second instance of physical contact?
Yes.
Tell us about that, please.
We were in the garage, and it was very much like the living room. I had just suggested strongly that I wanted to be done for the day, And as he came up to me, he walked right into me. Again, body checked me.
Finally, was there a third instance of contact?
Yes.
What happened?
We were in the hallway, and we were coming opposite directions towards each other, and he had a box. And as he walked up to me, he looked me in the eye, and he drove the corner of the box up into me.
Where?
My side.
Indicating on your right side?
Yes, sir.
In the hip area?
Yes, sir.
What was the result of that?
Scratching. It burned.
A moment, Ron.
Yes, sir.
Everyone take a deep breath. You're welcome to share your opinions. You can either believe her or not believe her. Saying you don't believe her is not toxic. Saying you believe her is not toxic. But please share your opinions respectfully.
Ashley, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as defense exhibit numbers 8, 9, and 10. Backward.
Yeah, just do me a favor, whenever you're holding them up, they were facing the jury until they're admitted.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. 8, 9, and 10?
Yes, sir. Will you tell us what Exhibit 8 represents, Ashley?
It's a scratch right here.
And was that scratch caused by the cardboard box that you just related?
Yes, sir.
When was that photograph taken?
The night of September 27th, 2020, at the sheriff's office.
Okay, and how about exhibit number 9?
Also scratches on my side.
From the same incident?
Yes, sir.
Also taken that evening at the sheriff's office?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and exhibit 10?
The same scratches as in 9. They're just, it's a close-up.
Do these photographs, Ashley, truly and accurately reflect the scratches and bruises you received on late that afternoon on September 27, 2020?
Yes.
Do they accurately reflect how the scratches looked when they were fresh?
Yes.
Thank you. I move respectfully, Your Honor, defense exhibits 8, 9, and 10 into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
They'll be received.
What was your response, Ashley, after being struck by the cardboard box?
I apologized.
Why would you have apologized?
Because I could see how upset he was, and I didn't want him to get more mad at me.
Where does Doug go after that incident?
He continued to the garage with the box.
And what happens at that point?
We started getting into a back and forth about being done for the day and what still needed to be packed and that I wanted to be done. And we ended up in our daughter's bedroom, and he started screaming at me. He said, "Shut the fuck up." He started calling me names. And he said, "I can see what you're doing. You're trying to get me to leave." He said, "I don't have to leave. I can stay and spend the night if I want to because I'm your husband."
At that point, Ashley, how did you feel with respect to your own personal safety?
I was scared.
Did you take any steps to try to avoid anything further?
Yes, I ran to try to leave the house.
And where did you run to?
To the front door.
Did you make it?
No.
Tell us what happened.
He stopped me. He grabbed me by the hand and he yanked me back. I'm not really sure how he did it, but he spun around so he was in front of me, between me and the door.
So
he said,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
He said, where the fuck do you think you're going?
What was your response? Do you specifically recall? Tell us.
I just blurted it out. I said, I'm done, and you need to leave now.
What was Doug's reaction to that command to leave now?
He said, you can't fucking leave me.
Then what happens?
He hit me on the side of the head.
Ashley, I'm going to ask you what's been marked as defendant's exhibit number 7. Tell us what that represents.
It's a picture of my face.
Is it an accurate picture of what your face looked like on that night?
Yes, sir.
Who took that photograph?
I don't remember her name. She was at the sheriff's office.
At the sheriff's office? Okay. Now, what is it about that photograph that shows or reflects the slap or the hit that you got to the side of your head on that day by Doug?
That side of my face is swollen and puffy and discolored around my eye.
And is your eyelid drooping?
Yes.
On the side where you were hit?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move defense exhibit number 7 into evidence.
Received.
What was different at that moment, Ashley, than at any time in your prior relationship with Doug?
He had never actually hit me before.
What did you do?
I ran.
Where?
To my room.
Why?
Because I was scared.
Ashley, did you have anything in your room that could protect you?
I had my gun.
Did you grab the gun?
Yes.
As you're grabbing the gun, what, if anything, did you hear?
I heard the door hitting the doorstop.
As if it is flung open?
Yes.
And what do you see, Ashley, when you look up?
Doug was standing in the doorway. His face was red. Like the veins were bulging in his neck. The way he was looking at me, it didn't even look like Doug. His eyes were black.
Does he yell anything at you?
He said, "You're fucking done."
And what does he do at that point?
I held the gun in front of me and I said, "Stop." And he turned and he got into this it was a fighting stance. I got low and he started moving his arms and his hands around. And he was making these jerking motions.
What were you expecting when you were holding the gun out in front of you and you told him to stop?
I thought when he saw it, he would leave.
Did he?
No.
At that point, Ashley, what are you thinking?
I thought he was going to kill me.
Tell us what happens next.
He started coming towards me.
Ashley, would you tell us why, if you're holding a loaded firearm, you were attempting to move away?
I was trying to get away from him. I was terrified.
All right, so you're firing. He keeps advancing. What happens next?
It was like his feet slipped out from under him and his legs went up in the air.
When Doug hits the floor, what's your immediate reaction?
I ran to get help.
Can you tell us how many shots you fired?
I have no idea. I was in a panic.
Do you remember anything about the shooting beyond what you've told us here?
It was a blur.
Where did you run for help, Ashley?
To my neighbor's house.
What's your neighbor's name?
John Sant.
Guys, please be kind in chat. Please be kind.
Ashley,
I'll just turn chat off if you guys
you a
can't.
couple of very
behave.
difficult
Seriously.
questions. You okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Ashley, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury why you shot Doug.
I was scared to death. I thought he was going to kill me. There was nowhere to go. I was trapped in my own house. He wouldn't let me leave.
Okay, mods, can you,
as you sit here
give
today,
24-hour timeouts to anybody who's real?
Ashley, how do you feel about what happened?
Horrible. He's the father of my child. It's okay. You have to explain it all to her.
Judge, I wonder, could we have a minute, maybe a brief recess, to have her compose herself?
All right. This is the jury. If you could step out for a couple of minutes, we'll bring you right back. Just leave your notes where they are. You put them face down. Please don't begin your deliberations. You can use your phones, but don't talk with anybody outside the jury about the case. Don't do any research on the people, places, things, or legal topics we're going to talk anything about. Thank you. All right, you all can have a seat. Ms. Benefield, you can have a seat. You need to take a moment to compose yourself.
Yeah, would it be all right if she stepped out?
No, sir.
May I approach her?
She's on
With
the
no
stand.
conversation?
As long as you don't say anything. Yeah.
Not say a word.
Yes.
Here's what I'll say. What her testimony,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
her testimony has to match up with the facts of the case. And her story so far does match up with the facts of the case. Those that are saying there are no tears, I can't tell if tears are genuine or not. I can tell you that her eyes were wet. The cheek was wet. I can see it on my screen.
I'm sorry.
All right, Judge, I think you can bring it back in.
Okay, ready? All right, let's go and bring the jury back in.
I can tell you, Eva Benefield, with her arms folded across her chest, glaring daggers, direct eye contact.
Yes, sir. We might have stepped into the facility, so we'll wait a minute.
Man, the tension in that courthouse is palpable. presented a case for self-defense. That's what she's put on here. In Florida, the burden now shifts to the state to prove that it was not self-defense. They're gonna come at her on cross. They're gonna try to crack that story open and get something that proves that she's lying or that she's not telling the story how it happened. Tell you her testimony contained the key parts that she needed to say for a self-defense claim. That she feared for her life, that she had nowhere to go. He was coming at her. It has the right parts in it, and now the state is going to have to try to break that apart and get through it. Otherwise, there's reasonable doubt.
All right, let's bring him in.
This is a terribly sad case. Sorry, it's a very noisy courtroom. I've turned the volume down a little bit. It's better to hear court than me, though. We're here to listen to court.
It'll be a couple of more minutes till the jurors are finished with their break. Let's 9:56. Let's say at 10:05 we'll reconvene. Ms. Benefield, I'm going to allow you to leave the stand. However, you are in the middle of your testimony. You may not communicate with anyone at all during your testimony. Do you understand? So you can step down and use the facilities, that's just fine, but you cannot communicate even with your attorney while you're testifying, all right? Okay, you need to step out, you can do so. So we'll be in recess until about 10:05 or so.
It's about another 7-minute break here. Jules is on the phone. Let's see what we've got. Jules, hang on just 1 second. I'm trying to get you to connect here. I don't have my plug. Jules, hold on just 1 second. I've got to connect a phone cord so you can be heard. Hang on. I forgot I unplugged this. Sorry. Okay, Jules, can you hear me? Jules, are you there?
I am.
Okay. We're in break. Ashley is currently on the witness stand, her head down, or actually I think on her chair back at the table, her head down on the desk. How did that go over? First of all, wow, she took the stand. How did this go over?
Well, as you and I discussed, she didn't have a choice. But at the end of the day, yesterday, I came away with not thinking she was going to take the stand. So when he called her, I was like, boom, here it comes. It came out of left field. For me, I think this jury is very, very difficult to read, okay? I've never seen a jury so difficult to read. They were expressionless when she was called to the stand. Are you okay? All right. One of the family friends is here in the hall having emotional. I will talk to you. Okay. I will talk to you at a later date in regards to the woman that's here now, because we're waiting until the trial's over, and then I will get some more insight into Ashley. Yeah. In any case, I think that the jury, it was hard to read. At first, some of them started taking notes, but for the most part, they were sitting there, looking at Mr. Taylor and then looking at Ashley. I will say that once she got into the meat of the details of what took place, the ones that were taking notes stopped. And when he asked Ashley, how does she feel about what happened? And, she completely broke down and she said, he's the father of my child. And
I have to explain it to her. Yeah.
3 female jurors were nodding their heads up and down, like in agreement. 3 females were. So when Mr. Taylor asked for if they can have a break so she can compose herself, when the judge said that the jury was coming back in, everyone stand, Ashley was standing. I don't know what you can see, what you see, but I don't know if they showed her full body. But I'm telling you,
it was close up on the top half of her body, so shoulders.
All right. Well, this young lady was trembling the entire time, and it was about 2 or 3 minutes that we were standing. And the entire time she was trembling. Her legs were shaking so bad. I was afraid that she was going to collapse. And then apparently, I don't know what's going on with the jury. And then the judge said it was going to be, a while longer. And so that's what happened. Now, when she first took the stand, Eva Benefield walked out of the courtroom.
Really?
And then, yes, she walked out, and her girlfriend stayed. But then a few minutes later, she came back in, and there was a gentleman that was with her. She came back in. She took her seat there in the first row, and then the gentleman left the courtroom. I do not know who he was. I've never seen him before. But he is back in the courtroom now. In fact, he's sitting in the last row next to the deputy. I don't know if they show that or not, but it's a big guy covered there.
Hard to see that one.
So, yeah.
So this all comes down to whether the jury believes her story or not.
Yes.
The people have mentioned that she was in ballet. Ballet is a performance. It's an act. So they're saying that because of her training, she may be presenting something here, and other people are saying, if I've seen this is 100% real. We're divided on that, and I appreciate everyone sharing their opinions respectfully. The defense is probably not going to go too much more into this. They want just a very clean testimony about what happened, and they've covered that. There might be a tiny bit more, but they're going to turn this over to the prosecution here in a minute, and cross-examination is going to try to pry and find a hole and basically try to break her on the cross-examination.
They will.
And that could be...
This prosecutor will definitely, I agree. It's unfortunate that the judge will not allow in prior bad acts, and which kind of sucks because there are prior bad acts on record with him, but because he's the victim, you can't put prior bad acts of the victim on there. Up there.
Well, even for defense, oftentimes they'll say it's 403. That's too prejudice versus probative. They'd keep that out. So interesting. Jules,
but depending on
they're about to start. So just go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right, then let me get back in. Bye.
Okay, bye. Sorry, didn't mean to cut her off there. Appreciate the info from Jules. We've got 3 jurors who are nodding at a very key point during the trial. I thought I saw camera motion. I told you they were about to start. Maybe they are. Okay, Ashley is still breathing heavily. Man, we've got a lot of people here who are new. Please understand, we are a friendly chat. We really are. This community is absolutely amazing. I've known you guys for now over 18 months. This is a tough topic. A lot of people have very personal, very painful experience in this area. I ask as you're sharing your comments, just be aware that our experiences aren't the same as everyone else's. For sure. Just be respectful in how we share things. It's perfectly okay if you don't believe. It's perfectly okay if you do believe the testimony. But let's do it respectfully and listen that way. I put a few keywords in the ban list. If you do see someone who's being rude in chat, you talking about it makes it worse. And both people will get timed out, just so you know. So we're handing out big timeouts. I see Weather Watch is doing only 300 seconds. I said 24 hours. We want this to be a place where we can watch court together and learn and discuss things in a respectful way. So please do that. Marlene, the big update is the defendant has taken the stand, and she gave a very emotion-filled testimony about what occurred and what went down. She said it had the key parts, it had the pieces in there that you need for a self-defense claim, which is now they've presented that as evidence because it's been testimony in a sworn testimony in a trial. Now the jury's coming in. So now the burden for proving it's not self-defense shifts to the state.
All right, you all can have a seat. Welcome back, everybody. Did anybody begin deliberation to talk about the case amongst yourselves? Did anybody communicate with anybody outside the jury about the case? Or did anybody do any research on the people, places, things, or legal topics we've heard anything about?
No, sir.
Everybody says no. Mr. Taylor, you can resume your direct examination.
Thank you, Judge White. Ashley, would you tell us where the pistol was in your bedroom?
It was in a storage bin. It was on top of my laundry basket.
Will you describe the storage bin?
It was like a square bin with hard sides and cloth covering the sides.
Do you remember how old Emerson, your child, was at the time of this incident?
About 2.
Was Emerson able to access that storage bin?
No.
Whose firearm was it?
Mine.
Did you have a license?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you, Ashley, what's previously been marked as Defendant's Exhibit Number 2. And Your Honor, I'd like to, if I could, put that up on the screen. Could we?
Is the sound of the screen being lowered?
Are you from the Elmo?
For the blinds.
Oh, sure.
I got the mood lighting.
And one more set of lights.
Thank you, Deputy. Ashley, take a look at the picture on your concealed firearm license. And in particular, are we able to zoom in on the portrait, the picture? Yeah. Ashley, do your eyelids look the same in that picture?
Yes, sir.
Do they look different in the picture that we admitted after you were slapped?
Yes, sir.
Let's put the, you see now, let's put Defendant's Exhibit Number 7 up on the screen. Ashley, what side of your face did he hit you on?
The left side.
The left side.
Left side.
And as we're looking at this picture, it would be to the right?
Correct.
Is your eyelid on the right side the same as your eyelid on the left side?
No, sir.
And how about your eyebrow? The space between your eyebrow and your eyelid on the right side, is that the same as the space between your eyebrow and your eyelid on the other side?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, Judge. I think we can lift the blinds. Was the firearm registered to you, Ashley?
Yes.
I'd like to now direct your attention back to your initial introduction to Doug. How long was it before Doug expressed his devotion to you?
It was about 4 days after we met that he told me he loved me.
Did any significant event follow after he expressed his love for you?
He flew me to South Carolina, where he was living at the time, and asked me to marry him, and I said yes.
You remember the date?
September 7th.
4 days.
2016.
How old was he at the time on September 7th, 2016?
54.
And how old were you?
24.
When you finally moved in together, what was it like?
It was challenging. Doug hadn't told his daughter Eva that we had gotten married, and so when she found out, she was really upset. which is understandable. Her mom had suddenly passed 8 or 9 months before, and I was a complete stranger to her. Now I'm moving into her house.
They're only 10 years apart in age.
At that point in your relationship, Ashley, describe for us the man you thought you'd married.
He was very loving and attentive. He was always with me. We did everything together. We laughed a lot. And he made me feel very special and loved. He always was looking for ways to be with me and to do things for me.
Was there a short time after that you were separated?
Yes, sir.
And what was the reason?
Before I had met him, I had planned a trip, and so I went on my trip. It was a cruise with my mom and one of my girlfriends.
Were you able to communicate with Doug while you were on the cruise?
Yes, sir.
How?
We mostly messaged each other.
I'm going to pass to you what's been marked as defendant's exhibit number 3, I believe, for identification.
Oh, 3. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, the ones that we did. Sorry.
Yes, sir. I'll take a minute and go through those, and I'm going to ask you about them.
Okay.
The more he goes over.
Do you want me to read all of them, or?
Yeah, okay. Through all of them.
The more he goes over with her, the more material there is for the state to cross. So this is risky.
Messages, Ashley, a true and accurate copy of the messages you received from Doug Benefield while you were on the cruise?
Yes.
Are they partially a true and accurate?
Your Honor, at this time, I would move defense exhibit number 3 into evidence.
Objection? Yes.
So yes, there's an objection. We're going to count this up to 144. I've not heard about these text messages before. This is the first I've heard about the cruise that she went on. This might give some insight into their relationship a little bit that we have not seen previously. Did notice that Eva Benefield appears to not be in the courtroom now. She was not happy at all. Arms folded, staring daggers at Ashley through her testimony before we took that little break. But look at how many these are people who are wearing purple. Don't have time for a spam call right now. Purple is is the color for domestic violence. This is looking on the actually Benefield side. And epilepsy, yeah. This I definitely would be a performance of a lifetime if this is all acting. The jury has to listen to this and decide what to believe. And they've heard a lot of testimony from the state that they've got text messages that show, I think this is probably what Mr. Taylor is arguing quite strongly for right now, that they have text messages that show that everything appeared to be normal on the outside. And this next batch of text messages, if they come in from when she was separated from Doug, might give additional insight. And I think there's a strong argument to allow them in. The argument against it would probably be the fact that it's not very relevant timely-wise. This is shortly after they met, and it was not right next to the time when this incident occurred. But we'll see. We'll see if they allow this in. If you're typing in all caps, we've done little timeouts over and over, and I think we're going to do a 24-hour timeout for that. It makes the problem with typing in all caps in chat is that it looks like you're shouting, and so people feel like they're getting yelled at, and then they respond very, very similarly in chat, and it escalates very quickly. So we ask that you don't do that.
Move to introduce defense exhibit number 3.
Any additional objections?
Oh, I'm sorry. Not other than what we discussed.
Okay. Admitted, subject to what we discussed at the bench.
Ooh, with restrictions.
Ashley, in this exhibit number 3, who's represented in blue and who's represented in green?
I have to take a look again. I'm blue and Doug is green.
You're blue and Doug is green?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I want to ask you what you thought and how you felt after this series of text messages where he said the following to you. And I'll go through them and you can respond.
Okay.
Like always being armed. And understanding them and how to conduct warfare in them for the kingdom. If I dwelt on it, I would go into a rage to remove them from the earth. I desire to exterminate them, and holding back is a challenge. They are rats that should be removed.
These are completely out of context.
Last night, just the jerks arguing near you about put me in sheer murderous mood, but I was stuck. I couldn't defend you. But could have been a fight, etc. Only you being with me will over time remove the images in my head. It is same, and knowing you were taken advantage of still in my mind makes me explode with anger to take them out. God made you for me. You haven't seen the warrior side and never want to. We went from joy and passion to now I'm in a testosterone rage inside. But kill the bad people. How long had you been married when you received these texts from Doug?
I believe it was about like a month or so. Probably thereabouts.
Do you recall approximately how long you had been married?
Well, we got married in the beginning of September, and this would have been the end of November.
Okay.
So more than that, I'm sorry.
What did you think? Was there anything about those texts that caused you to pause?
You know, at the time, I kind of tried to write it off that he was my new husband and he was just trying to be kind of manly and, you know, be protective and, you know, was trying to show that he really loved me. I think that was kind of what I
Did you think it was flattering?
Yeah.
Ashley, how long did this facade that you've described of Doug's last?
Probably about 3 months.
And what signs did you begin to see that he was not who you thought he was?
When I got back from the cruise, he started becoming very, like, controlling and possessive. He started criticizing everything about me, like the way I would wear my hair or did my makeup or the way I dressed. I found myself trying to change everything about me to make him happy.
If you had to pinpoint a specific incident, Ashley, early on that stands out to you, what would that be?
A friend of his had come to town to visit, and we went out to dinner with him. And when we went to leave, Doug had had a little too much to drink, and so I said that I would drive home. And he instantly got really mad at me. He was offended. He started screaming at me, and it continued all the way home. And when we got inside, I told him that he was drunk and he just needed to go to bed. And that really set him off. And he tried to flip over the dining room table. He threw a chair at me. He kept screaming at me until he stopped, and then he apologized. And he said it would never happen again. He said he's really sorry.
And Ashley, did it happen again?
Yes.
Explain what happened.
We had gone to church one Sunday, and after service, after everyone was leaving, we talked to the pastor in like the lobby area in front. And at one point, Doug stormed off, and by the time I caught up with him, I was in the parking lot, and he started cussing at me, calling me names. And when we got in the truck, he accused me of having a thing for the pastor, and he said I was a slut and a whore, and he screamed at me all the way home.
Ashley, was he aggressive and threatening like that in other instances?
It started happening more and more with me and with our animals. He would hurt our pets.
On approximately how many occasions was he cruel to your pets?
A handful.
How would Doug react following a dark episode?
Well, he was either really up or really down. And after, he'd be very sweet and apologetic, and he'd be kind, and things would be good. And it was kind of like a flip of a switch, and something would set him off again.
Did you find anything one day, Ashley, that gave you insight into Doug's marriage to his previous wife, Renee?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what it was.
I had been going through and kind of cleaning and organizing, and I was going through a bunch of old devices like phones and iPads, and I found a texting conversation between Doug and Renee, his previous wife.
No objection.
Let me pass to you, Ashley, what we've marked as defendant's exhibit number 11. Can you identify that, Ashley?
This is crazy.
This is part of the texting conversation. This is a text from Renee Benefield to Doug.
Is that a true and accurate copy of what you came across that day that you just related to us?
Yes, sir.
At this point, I'd like to move that into evidence as defense exhibit number 11.
No objection.
Received.
Stayed silent. No objection.
I'm going to read this to you and let me know if it's accurate.
Okay.
I was deeply disappointed that you distorted the truth about who you really were when I married you. I loved you, though finding out you weren't really what you pretended to be. You kicking me so hard on New Year's Eve on our honeymoon because you were having trouble functioning in certain areas. You holding a gun to your head twice in my home that I opened to you with my children that still love you. Having to sell everything down to my wedding ring. Finding out you were on Viagra, which all of you had to do was tell me, you know I wouldn't care. Trying to film us making love on our honeymoon. Finding out that you wore eye pencil on and on. I loved you so much I didn't care. That's why I was shocked to think you would take pictures of me without asking. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Whoa.
Tell us, Ashley, how Doug would act when he would go off.
He would call it a fit of rage. Sometimes it was as simple as him just yelling and screaming at me or cussing at me, calling me names. Other times he would throw things or break things or smash things. He would come at me like he was going to hit me. He told me I was lucky that he punched walls instead of me.
Are there any incidences in particular, Ashley, that stand out to you?
Yes.
Tell us, please.
We were having an argument, and he came at me like he was going to hit me. And our dog, Sully, jumped up in between us, and he punched him in the face so hard that he knocked him out. I just remember screaming because I thought he had killed him.
Were there other times that Doug hurt the animals?
Yes, he had kicked
punched Sully. He threw our cat multiple times. One time he threw Snuffy down the stairs.
What kind of impact did this behavior have on you?
I was always walking on eggshells, trying to do the right things. Because if I said the wrong thing, he would get mad at me. And so I always tried to do it right. If I wore the wrong thing, he would call me a whore or a slut. I feel like I couldn't do anything right.
Was there an incident, Ashley, in June of 2017 that you vividly recall?
Yes.
Please explain it.
We were having an argument, and it started getting really out of hand. He pulled a gun out, and he was like waving it around, and then he threw it at me, and it hit the wall behind me, punched a hole in the wall. So I went to run to try to leave. He pulled the gun out and held it to his head. He said that he was gonna blow his fucking brains out, and I was gonna have to watch him. And he pulled the trigger and he shot a hole in the ceiling in the kitchen.
Ashley, at that point, what were you thinking about your marriage?
He wasn't anything like I thought he was. I feel like I had made a really big mistake marrying him. It was like I was just living in this nightmare. I never knew what I was going to get.
Did there come a time in July or August of 2017 when you found yourself with child?
Yes.
So let's be clear here chronologically. You became pregnant after this incident where you related that he shot the gun in the ceiling of the kitchen?
Yes, it would have been like right after that, I guess.
Was it planned?
No, it was the last thing on my mind at that point.
How would you deal with Doug?
I tried to do all the right things and keep him happy. Kind of just go with the flow. I didn't want to rock the boat ever.
Did you have a difficult pregnancy?
Yes, I was really sick.
Did you go home from South Carolina to stay with your mom here in Bradenton at the end of August 2017?
Yes, sir.
Did there come a time when you returned to South Carolina?
Yes.
Would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Ashley, why you returned to South Carolina?
I had decided that I was going to leave him, and so I went back to get my things. When he brought me down, I didn't even have like a suitcase or anything, so I went back to get my stuff, and I wrote him a note and left him a letter saying why I was leaving.
I'm going to have an objection.
You approach.
Now there's an objection about the note. I wrote him a note saying why I was leaving. I'm going to have an objection. I think it's about the note. They don't want that to come in. The vasectomy issue, I believe we heard testimony that Ashley paid for his vasectomy procedure or reversal on her credit card. That will really be problematic, and it will probably come up during cross-examination where she seems to have testified that she was quite surprised that she became pregnant and it wasn't planned. Generally, reversing a vasectomy has one purpose only. That might come back and bite her. It wasn't planned at that point, and she said it was the last thing on her mind. possibly surprised that, it's so effective on the reversal so quickly. Mathis, I didn't hear the timeline for when, because it sounded like she got pregnant, she says, very soon or soon after the bullet hole in the ceiling incident occurred. I don't know where that happened in relation to when she got married. They started, I know the trip that she took where we had those disjointed out of context texts from Doug to her was about a month in after their marriage.
I'd like to make a statement for the record. I'd like to make a statement for the record.
Does the jury have to leave? He'd like to make a statement for the record. I mean, this is compelling testimony. She is. I can't judge this. Honestly, I can't. I'm not in her shoes. I don't know how even the jury could do this. This would be the hardest type of case of all to sit and listen to. The jury has to make a call on believability. That's their job here. She is saying all the right things. Like from a legal perspective, if you were checking to see if different boxes were checked, she's saying the right things to assert this this defense. That it was self-defense, and now she's building the pattern, and she's brought some receipts without objection. We have a conversation from a previous wife testifying that there was abuse. That's powerful. That's compelling. It gives her a sense of credibility, at least to her story. Could be they were told it would take longer after the reversal for the vasectomy to get her pregnant. Possibly. I think I don't want to get too descriptive here, but I think, once the swelling goes down, pretty much it's game on. So, yes, she's expected to say the right things. If she had fabricated this story, I think she would say the same thing, and that's the problem the jury has, because the jury has to decide if she has fabricated the story and is saying all the right things so that she can get the benefit of a defense she's not entitled to, or if she is telling this, recounting this experience, what she could not fake is those messages, apparently. Unless there's no record of them. We just took her word for it.
All right, Ashley. Can you identify what we marked for identification of defendant's exhibit number?
Sustained.
Well, she can't even identify it.
No, sir. I made my ruling.
You told us you left him a letter?
Yes.
All right.
Letter's not coming in.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Let me pass this to you. You can.
Judge, I'm going to object.
Sustained.
Do you remember independently everything that you said in the letter?
Not everything, no.
Would it help?
Would it help refresh your recollection if you were able to see the letter?
Yes.
Judge, objection.
Sustained.
Wow. Objection, she's not allowed to get her memory
At the time
refreshed?
that you wrote the letter, Ashley, were the contents fresh in your mind?
At the time, yes.
The letter was written in September 2017.
Yes, that's correct.
It's now 2024.
Yes, sir.
So 7 years ago.
Yes.
All right. Do your best.
Okay.
To try to respond to a series of questions I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
You can't lead. This is her witness. It's his defense witness. You can't lead.
What did you tell Doug.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained. Sir, can we approach, please?
This is getting spicy. Apparently, what's in this letter, the state does not want in. And I'm actually surprised. Well, not really. We've seen in previous courts, we even got that soundbite where we said you can use anything to refresh a witness's testimony. You could use a peanut butter sandwich to refresh their testimony. You can show them anything to refresh their recollection. Not their testimony, refresh their recollection. The attorney is trying to get this letter in that was written. It was like, this is why I'm leaving you letter, right? That's what we're trying to get in from the defense side. He's trying to present this. There have been objections that have been sustained as to bringing it in. I'm not sure if it's foundational. If the objection was there's no foundation laid, that would be why you keep pushing, and he is still pushing and leading towards that. The objections keep coming very quickly from the defense. He's not allowed to bring the letter in, and now it appears he's not allowed to ask her what was in the letter. It sounds like the judge has ruled that this letter is more prejudicial than probative, or irrelevant or something, and that he's not allowed to go there. It's chain of custody. It's her own letter, confused why it can't come in. It's confusing. It's hearsay. Any statement made outside of court is hearsay, but there are exceptions to these rules. We've been reading text messages back and forth, and how is a text message
How did you feel about your personal safety when you left Doug?
I was scared.
What was it that made you uncomfortable?
It was a lot of things. It was the things that he'd done, like punching our dog and shooting the gun, and different things he would say and do.
And were you afraid for just you?
I was pregnant at the time. I was scared for the baby.
Instances, Ashley, where you felt that your own safety had been placed in danger as a result of conduct by him?
Yes.
Can you give us some examples?
I guess one thing that comes to mind is sometimes he would drive really scary, yelling and screaming at me and like running up on curbs. One time he almost hit a tree.
Did you strike that? Describe the kind of things that would be done to intimidate you.
He would get in my face. He'd yell at me. He'd come at me like he was going to hit me.
What about breaking things?
He would break things, smash things. He threw things at me.
You describe, if you were using adjectives, his behavior?
Possessive, controlling, manipulative, aggressive, scary. unpredictable.
Ashley, did you take any steps in addition to leaving this letter to protect yourself in South Carolina?
Yes.
What did you do?
I filed for a domestic violence injunction, like a protective order.
Ashley, I'd like to pass to you what we've marked as Defendants Exhibit 13A and 13B and ask you if you can identify them.
Okay. Um, 13A is the
I'm not sure why we've got an objection. We don't have any indication of what these documents are. All right. Weather Watch, are you feeling these earthquakes, or are they not around you? I think Shark said they felt an earthquake in Texas. I'm curious if they're connected way deep underground with what's happening up in Yellowstone with that huge explosion. Because last time we had an earthquake, they had a huge explosion up there. Yes, indeed, we are feeling them here, rocking and rolling. Let me turn the audio down in case it gets loud.
Ashley, what was the date? Did the court grant the injunction?
Yes, sir.
Was there a hearing?
Yes, sir.
Were you present at the hearing?
Yes.
Was Doug present at the hearing?
Yes.
Did the judge rule at the hearing?
From the bench, yes.
All right. What was the date of the hearing?
November 3rd, 2017.
I'm sorry?
November 3rd, 2017.
2017?
Yes.
Okay. Now, was that order that the judge decreed violated?
Yes.
By who?
By Doug.
How?
He sent me a package in the mail.
Sent you the package here in Florida?
Yes.
South Carolina?
Yes.
Birthday present?
What was the package represented to be?
A birthday gift, I believe.
And did you open it?
Yes.
What happened?
Well, when I opened it, there was an overwhelming smell, like a real strong chemical smell, and I got like an instant headache.
Did you report it to the police?
Yes.
Ashley, I'm going to pass to you what we've marked as defendant's exhibit number 14 and ask you if you can identify it.
Okay. What do I do with these? Okay. Yes.
What is it?
It's a picture of the package he sent to me.
Is it a true and accurate picture of the package that you received on that day in November?
The outside of it, yes.
All right, Your Honor, on behalf of Ms. Benefield, we move that into evidence.
No objection.
Received. Defendant's Exhibit 14.
What did you do with the package after you opened it?
I sealed it back up and I put it in the garage before I brought it to the sheriff's department.
Now, you told us when you received the package, aside from the contents giving you a headache, that it was in violation of the South Carolina restraining order?
Yes.
Did you, when you contacted the police, request that they take some action?
Yes.
What was the result?
No charges.
I believe it was a tea set in the box. I think that's what we heard before.
Okay.
Objection? Objection to the pause? What? Didn't think anything was pending. Man. You know that if on direct it's been this spicy, the cross is just going to be absolutely nuts. They're going into so many different things. This just means that there's a lot for the prosecution to cross her on, and it's going to be brutal, and there will be lots of objections back the other direction as well. Cross is not going to be pretty. It'll be pretty spicy. Here's the problem. This is the dilemma that the state has on cross-examination. If the jury is believing the testimony from Miss Benefield, if they come out with guns blazing, it's going to look like they're attacking a victim. Okay, so they have to first. I think the very first thing, I think they have to prove that she is lying about something. They have to attack something where her testimony is weak, so that they can break apart an image that the jury may have of truthfulness from the defendant. This is just trial strategy. I mean, it looks heartless when it actually plays out in court. But if they can get her to basically admit or prove to the jury that what she said was not true, was not accurate, then they can attack her. Otherwise, it's very risky.
Were you subsequently notified, Ashley, by the state attorney's office here in Manatee County that no charges were to be filed?
Yes.
Do you remember the date that you were notified?
Not off the top of my head.
Let me show this to you and see if it refreshes your recollection.
Okay. At the top, it says October 8th, 2018.
Ashley, when did you give birth to Emerson?
March 19th, 2018.
Where was Doug when you gave birth?
He wasn't there. It was during the restraining order from South Carolina.
So he wouldn't have been allowed to have contact with you?
Correct.
Do you remember how long the South Carolina restraining order was to last?
I believe it was 6 months.
Does there come a time when you're concerned about the South Carolina restraining order expiring?
Yes.
So at or about the time of that, what steps, if any, did you take to protect yourself?
I filed for a domestic violence injunction here in Florida.
What was the result?
It was denied.
And was there any directive entered with respect to Emerson?
There was a time-sharing agreement set up.
The man they're showing
Shortly
right now
after
is
that,
Doug's
or at
cousin.
or about the same time, was there additional litigation that you filed?
That's Tommy
Yes.
Benefield.
Do you recall what it was for?
Divorce and termination of parental rights.
In the termination of parental rights petition, Ashley, did you tell the court?
Objection, hearsay.
Go ahead and finish the question.
I would say whatever you want to get out.
Did you advise the court in your petition about prior domestic acts of violence by Doug?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Overruled. You may answer.
I'm sorry.
You're okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes.
Do you remember, or can you tell us today what you told the court?
I mean, not all off the top of my head.
Overruled.
You can answer.
I wouldn't be able to tell it all to you off the top of my head from memory now.
Okay, let's see if I can refresh your recollection.
She's scribbling notes, furiously highlighting. She's preparing her cross-examination of this witness. And it's going to be brutal. Jury is present. They're here all day today, Kenny. I don't have the total number of witnesses, but I think we're looking at an early next week rest.
Would you like me to read the whole thing, sir?
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to read the whole thing?
No.
Okay.
I would just like to ask you, has your recollection been refreshed?
I'm just getting to that part now.
Okay, then without referring to what's in front of you, tell us.
Can I finish reading this
Listen
section?
to your client.
Yeah, you need to remove the document if the memory's been refreshed.
I just said I didn't finish reading that part.
So it needs to finish reading.
I'm sorry, take your time, finish reading.
He's not listening to her. She's like, I haven't read it yet. Can I finish reading this? And he's like, nope. Tell me, answer the question. He needs to listen to her. This is hard. This is probably one of the hardest cases to... There's some hard ones, let's turn down the paper shuffling. I didn't hear baby. Did he call her baby?
I don't expect you to remember all the details. I'm going to ask you for the high points.
Okay, sorry, there's just a lot in here.
That probably could have been objected to.
Okay.
So tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Ashley, the things that you had to say.
I talked about him punching Sully and kicking him, throwing our cat Snuffy, about him trapping me, grabbing me, yanking me, tripping me, shooting the gun in the house, punching holes in the walls. He trapped me in the closet, smash things like that.
All right. As part of the domestic violence injunction that you filed here in Florida, that was before Judge Moreland, was a deposition taken of Doug.
Yes.
Were you present?
Yes, by phone.
Who else was present at the deposition?
My attorney, as well as Stephanie Murphy, Doug's attorney, and a court reporter.
Was the judge present at the deposition?
No.
Were you able to hear the entire proceeding?
Yes, sir.
Did Doug make
Objection, caution.
Approach.
We are rapidly getting objections here. Calls for hearsay. You guys, please be patient with the mods. Selena says she deleted her super chat herself. There might have been a typo. I don't know why. Selena, thank you very much. I appreciate your amazing supporter of the channel. The mods are making decisions and chat is flying, so please make their work a little bit easier. And don't. We put a couple words in there that are problematic words for this specific trial. If you keep typing and putting a message out there and it's just not showing up, we've basically said those words are not helping the conversation. And so try to say what you're saying in a maybe a nicer way, or without using the same language and see if it gets through. Or just don't say it, because it might not be something we need to share right now. If I tell you what the words are, Kelsey, it defeats the purpose, because then you'll find like an alternate word that just gets around it. Let's just focus on being good, being nice to each other. We can share opinions. You realize this, so many of us have experiences in this area, and many of us don't have the experiences that other people have had. So just be respectful and be understanding that when somebody makes a comment and sees this, a lot of them are seeing this case and remembering what they've been through or what they've lived through or what they've heard. Realize we're here to watch this case. We can't focus on other things that have happened. A lot of time that detracts from what's happening here. There's a time and a place for that. But be respectful as people do share their opinions and analysis of the situation here. Keep trying to work the audio. I've told you this. I've tried to tell you a couple times, but they keep cutting me off. When they turn the audio on, they have a system in their audio chain in the courtroom that listens for talking, and if it can't hear talking, it assumes that someone's talking quietly, and it cranks the volume. So when it's very quiet and their audio is off and nobody's talking, they're doing sidebar at the bench, the automatic system has cranked the volume all the way up to hear the quiet whispers of a timid witness. And so when we come back from, when they turn the audio on, it's boom, it's super loud. And until somebody talks, it sort of readjusts back down to normal speaking volume. That's why we have the sort of jet engine explosion every time a sidebar is over. So I'm manually trying to fix that by turning the volume down and then cranking it back up as soon as they start talking. Joe Duncan, thank you very much. We've had some amazing gifted memberships here. Just recently, Roddy Lover gifted 20 memberships. Selena Carr gifted 5, and John Duncan, just gifted another 5. Breezy says, thank you, mods, and all right, this is hard work. Thank you. Breezy, appreciate you. Wonderful friend of the channel. Allie B from Tennessee gifted a membership as well. Thank you, Allie. Hope things are going well with you and the good doctor. And by that I mean Dr. G. Let's see. I'm not trying to like out some situation that I'm not aware of, Allie B. I realized once I started saying that it might sound weird. But Allie B in Tennessee is... for background, is interested in a career similar to what Dr. G is in. And so we connected the two of them together to be able to talk about some of the schooling and things that are involved. Typically, those opening ceremonies are inspiring. They're just awesome. Mr. O'Keefe doing the heavy lifting there, helping out Mr. Taylor with the defense from the bench and back. If you missed the motions before trial started, there were motions about Mr. O'Keefe. That's why he's sitting on the bench where he is. He's not a lawyer. He's a paralegal. But he now has an HDMI cable that reaches to his computer, and he has a card table to set his computer on. Both of which were subject of motions.
Ashley.
Can we approach based on this as well?
Okay.
Wow. I'm counting this one as well. What just happened there off camera, we saw that Mr. Taylor was talking to Mr. O'Keefe. He grabbed some papers, something he wanted to show Ashley. He walked over, as is standard, he walked over to the prosecution's table to show it to the defense, and then went to talk to Ashley. Defense then says, can we approach? We have an objection on what we were just shown. Let's see, let's not watch another case like this for a while. Can we get back to just a regular old murder? These ones... and cases that have DV or any abuse in them are very, very difficult. We've been through some heavy ones, and this one is right up there with I would put it in the same category as Letitia Stout, but obviously a little different. But RX Girl, 6 whole months, been here longer though. Wonderful, congratulations. Yellow Courthouse, looks great. RX Girl, thank you very much. I mean, did I say defense? Yeah, that was the state that's objected here, or the prosecution. We need a lighthearted Thurston County trial. Maybe Mr. Frog can be rounded up and he could see the second half of the trial that he walked out of on lunch. That would be neat. I'm sitting here thinking about Ashley's testimony and the stuff that she's presenting. Initially, I thought, oh, she's got receipts. She's found this text message exchange, going back to the discussion, that text discussion Doug had with his ex-wife. But they didn't bring in, we don't have a copy of that. We only have Ashley's word for that. So if I was a juror that was doubting Ashley's credibility, if she brings in other evidence to support her initial evidence that's still just her word, I'm not sure if that would move the needle at all, one direction or another. But we are finding that it's very difficult for Mr. Taylor to get these documents that he wants to present in. The letter, supposedly, that was written also would be Ashley's word back in, 2017 or whatever. That letter that she wrote, wasn't able to get it in. Wasn't able to even have her testify much about it other than how she felt at the time, and got some good adjectives in. Lacey, love it. You've got a brand new color of courthouse. It's light blue. That's month number 2. Thank you very much. Learning every day and loving it. Thank you, Lacey. Thanks for being here. Wouldn't be the same without you. One thing that stands out for me, and I have not decided. I don't know if I can reach a decision on this case. Honestly, I'm that flummoxed over this situation. But one thing that does stand out to me is that Ashley Benefield has been behaving on camera differently when the jury is present. Like that's the deciding factor. If the jury is there, we have a very still, I don't know what it's a good descriptive word, like is it demure? I'm not sure if I'm using that word correctly. You get this look, the head down, this slight dejection, timid sort of appearance, where when the jury is not there, she's been much more animated in her body language. Even when there's, things being discussed that are basically the same as will be discussed in front of the jury, we get 2 different behaviors from her. And that feels to me like there could be an element of her either fabricating or exaggerating a situation. Like a performance, but even if she is trying to exaggerate or trying to accentuate those actions in front of the jury, it doesn't mean they didn't happen. And so I'm really confused on this one. Honestly, I'm confused. Reverent is a good word. She's pious. I don't know. Where are we going with this? It could be that she was told what to do, and I think a good defense attorney might help people understand how a jury might perceive their actions. Be more, I wouldn't say 0 receipts. We have court records which are acknowledged and exist in another court case of Doug admitting to some of these same acts. And now she is she's sort of fleshing out each of those occurrences with a different a narrative that we haven't had before, and I don't think was included in the admission by Doug in that other court case. So she might be using them to her benefit, but there's definitely something there. I mean, there was a bullet hole in the ceiling. There was a fist hole in the wall. Those things occurred, and apparently it wasn't Ashley that did it. So I'd say she has some supporting evidence that is outside her own personal experience and testimony. But where the nature of what she's testifying of is something that happens behind closed doors. It happens in private. The daughter confirmed the holes. I think the best example of what we're seeing here is probably a version of what we saw where Ashley was testified to by the doctor. The doctors testified that when Doug was, or like the therapist, when Doug and Ashley were together, Ashley behaved one way, and when they were separate, she behaved another. Maybe this is an indication that Ashley, in her heart, fears the jury and fears what they can do. Would that be too much of a stretch to say that might be why she's the way she is right here? Chrissy, I've been studying the law since I was a kid. My background, I've been adjacent to law enforcement for a long time. Helped them out on a few things, flying drones for them, video. I've worked in the news media for a while. But I also love to learn, and I love to study the law. I love to read laws. Like, I read proposed bills, like thousands of pages of proposed bills, just to see, how a specific state is changing their laws, or what the pushes are, what they're doing, unintended consequences. I love the law. I don't think I could do it for work, but I love the law. I guess I do. I sort of do it for work. I have been interrogated, specifically by the BATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. They had questions about a bomb that I had found. This is a lengthy sidebar for sure. Didn't I already tell the story? Didn't I share the bomb story with you? Yes, I found a bomb. I found it when the people who were on the other end of a very long electrical wire, hundreds of yards long, were trying to set it off. Luckily, physics and resistance were on my side, and the charge was not, the battery they used wasn't strong enough to set off the detonator. That's why I'm alive today. But the people who made the bomb ended up serving a couple years in federal prison. One of them ended up ODing. And the other one, I don't know where he is. We have not contacted each other since. I'll have to tell the bomb story. Maybe on a podcast we'll do it.
Ashley, I'm going to pass to you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 17.
Okay.
I'd ask you if you can identify it.
Whoa, we skipped a ton of numbers. I wonder, we know that defense pre-numbered all their exhibits, and last I heard we were on number 7. Now we jumped to 17. I'm not sure if we're doing them in the order they wanted to, or if we're just jumping around. Crazy. There have been tears on Ashley's face at various points in this trial, both while she was listening to other people testify and while she's been testifying. I can confirm, I've blown it up on the big screen. There are tears running down her face. I can't tell if they're forced or not. I just know they're there. Eva did confirm the hole in the wall and the bullet hole.
Ashley, do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what it is.
They're text messages between me and Doug.
And do they truly and accurately reflect texting back and forth between you and Doug?
Yes.
On behalf of the defense, Your Honor, we move into evidence defense exhibit number 17.
Objection overruled. Defendant's Exhibit 17 will be received.
Ashley, in defense exhibit number 17, the text messages, does Doug admit to shooting the gun in the house?
Yes.
Does he admit to throwing the gun at you?
Yes.
Does he admit to punching holes in the drywall of the house?
Yes.
Does he admit to punching the dog and rendering them unconscious?
Yes.
Objection, no, he does not. Those text messages do not say that.
If I'm going to sustain, if you want to publish the exact exhibit that's been admitted, you can do so.
Those text messages
intend
don't
to publish upon completion of the examination. I want to ask you, Ashley, if I can, about other instances of abusive conduct. Was a tracker at any time placed on your car?
Yes.
Was it done with your permission?
No.
Did Doug hold on. While the state is reviewing that, Ashley, I'm going to pass to you defendants exhibits 19 and 20. Tell us, if you would, what they depict.
Holes in the drywall of the house, our house in South Carolina.
Refer to them specifically. Exhibit number
19 has a picture of a hole in the drywall with my hand next to it. It's kind of been like pushed back in.
Is it a true and accurate production of what existed at that time?
Yes.
All right, and the next one?
20 has a picture of a hole, like a fist hole through the drywall in our home.
Okay, is it a true and accurate photograph of that?
Yes.
On behalf of the defense, Your Honor, we move them into evidence.
State, any objection to defense 19 and 20?
No.
Received.
All right.
And there's another objection. She says, we need to approach on the next exhibit. Wow, Cross is going to be crazy. At this rate, we're not going to get to Cross until at least after lunch. We might be able to see those pictures, and we'll be able to tell if it's the same hole. Drywall, it's hard to break drywall identically. Drywall crumbles. If anyone's broken drywall before, it just breaks where it wants to break. The harder you hit it, I'd say that usually the cleaner the break. But punching drywall is the least, it's probably the most effective and also most painful stud finder you will ever use. You hit a stud behind the drywall and you break your hand. You break your hand.
Ashley, did Doug admit to placing an illegal tracker on your vehicle?
Yes, in a message to me.
Did you report that to the police?
Yes.
What was the result?
No charges.
Were there incidents, Ashley, where Doug would appear unexpectedly?
Yes, a lot.
And how would that come about? Can you give us an example?
I'd be driving down the road and I'd see him in the rearview mirror, a couple cars behind me, or he'd be right behind me. Or sometimes he would show up at places that I was, just unexpected. I'd see him, or like in the parking lot.
And was this while you were living here in Manatee?
Yes, I was living here.
And where was Doug living at the time?
In South Carolina.
How could he do that?
He was driving here.
Was this also during the time that the South Carolina injunction was in place?
Both then and after as well.
For the record, my experience...
Did you report those incidents to the police?
Yes.
What was the result?
No charges.
My experience with drywall.
Was there an incident with
demolition.
a neighbor, Ashley?
Yes.
What happened? Ashley, were you present?
Yes.
For the incident?
Yes, he was outside in the yard at night looking in the windows of my house.
What is the neighbor's name?
Marianne Croft.
And was this reported to the police?
Yes.
Did they respond?
Yes, they came out.
Was it daytime or nighttime?
It was nighttime.
In your presence, was an identification made that it was Doug?
Yes.
What was the result?
No charges.
Was there an incident, Ashley, where you and your mother came home to find someone in the driveway of your home?
Yes.
Who was it?
It was Doug.
What did he do when he saw you?
He was on foot in front of the house, and when he saw us, he took off running.
Did you call the police?
Yes, I had to call several times before they sent someone out.
Did they take a report?
They did, but by the time they finally got there, he was long gone.
What was the result?
No charges.
I want to introduce what we've marked as defendants exhibit 23 and 24. Can you identify that?
Yes.
What does 23 show?
23 is a picture of Doug with his shirt off. He's like taking a selfie.
And is that how Doug looked at or about the time of the shooting on the 27th?
Yes.
All right, and what does the next exhibit show?
It's also a picture of Doug with his shirt off. He's working out. He's like doing like a push-up, I guess.
Does that too accurately represent what Doug looked like on the day of the homicide?
Yes.
Your Honor, on behalf of the defense, we move those two exhibits into evidence.
Any objection? No. Received.
Just one or two more questions, Ashley.
We might get to cross.
Was there a time back around May of 2020 where you wanted to learn about co-parenting with an abuser?
Yes.
Objection. Previous ruling.
Sustained.
To the question, Your Honor, or to the line of inquiry?
To the question.
Okay.
Good clarification.
Did you take any steps, Ashley, to try to determine how to co-parent?
Yes.
All right, and what was that?
I did some Googling and reading to try to find helpful articles on what to do to make things
I'm going
good.
to pass to you what we've had marked as Defense Composite Exhibit 4, A, B, C, and D.
Objection, Judge. Previous ruling to be discriminated.
Can you approach?
Objection, previous ruling. I'm getting tired just watching them walk back and forth. It looks like Eva has left the courtroom. Once the testimony started, I think she left right after the break that Ashley got so she could emotionally compose herself in her testimony. She left right then and has not been back. A few other family members look to also have been are out of the courtroom for this, where basically all the testimony is going to be negative about Doug. They're not here for that. Cross is going to be spicy for sure. I think the biggest thing that leaves a big question in my mind is that one item we brought up before, where there's the vasectomy and her surprise at getting pregnant. That needs probably some clarification before defense rests, because right now it looks like ripe for the picking as something that would be an inconsistent statement by the defendant.
Actually, I'm going to pass.
Defendants. Oh, go ahead. It's got to be.
Thank you. We'll pass you defendant's exhibit number 4.
No, I already ruled on authenticity in the past. So, over the state's objection, admitted.
Thank you.
It's coming in.
Take a look at exhibit 4A, Ashley. What's the date?
5/11/2020.
And did you do an internet search on 5/11/23?
2020, yes.
2020, rather?
Yes.
And will you tell us what the subject you researched was?
Domestic co-parenting with an abuser.
All right, and would you go to exhibit 4B? What's the date of 4B?
5/11/2020.
Did you do an internet search then?
Yes.
What was the subject you researched?
Ask Amanda. How do I co-parent with an abuser?
All right, and 4C?
Yes.
What's the date of 4C?
5/11/2020.
And did you do an internet search then as well?
Yes.
What was the subject?
Co-parenting versus parallel parenting with an abusive ex, the Good Men Project.
All right, and lastly, 4D. What's the date of 4D?
5/11/2020.
Did you do an internet search?
Yes.
What was the subject?
6 tips to help you co-parent with an abusive ex.
All right, Your Honor, I think I'm finished if you just give me one moment.
Okay, so those were the searches? That's not normally how people search. You don't type into the search bar the result you're looking for. Usually you type the topic and then you find the result. And the dates were all next to each other?
Actually, I'm going to pass you what's been previously admitted as defense exhibit number 6.
Okay.
Do you recognize it?
Yes.
What is it?
It's a whole chain of emails that were forwarded to me by my attorney.
And what is the date it was forwarded to you on?
It says Wednesday, September 23rd of 2020.
Did you read it?
Yes. I mean, do you want me to reread it now, or?
Did you read it when it was forwarded to you?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead. Can the attorneys approach, please?
Because we haven't done that all day. Some of you are saying, I searched like that. It just seems like, because here's what we have. We know the judge was saying these were authenticated earlier. The ruling he made was when her phone was extracted using Celebrite. The authenticity of these Google searches, is what they were called, was vouched for then by that extraction with case law. So the objection here that they hadn't been authenticated, that's what he overruled. And now these come in, and she read the search, and specifically the one that said like co-parenting versus parallel parenting, how to parent with an abuser, the Good Men Project, that or something to that nature. That seems a bit much as what you type in for a Google search. That's the end result. That's like pulling back up the end result. Wouldn't there be other searches that led her there that would get to that?
Ms. Benefield, you can step down. You can take your water, you can step down.
Okay, should I?
Just leave everything there.
Okay. Can I throw this out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Members of the jury, it's about 11:45, so I'm going to let you go on your lunch break at this point. If I could have you guys back downstairs in that jury assembly room by 1 o'clock. And when I say by 1 o'clock, maybe 5 till, because the goal will be to go ahead and get you on up here and get started right around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Please remember, do not discuss this case amongst yourselves in any way, shape, or form. Don't discuss it with anybody outside of this jury, and do not do any research, watch television, read articles, anything at all about the people, places, things, or legal topics we've heard anything about. All right, leave your notes just right there on your chair, and we'll see you back right at 1 o'clock.
So apparently, I don't know how to Google, and you guys have all been doing it correctly all along, so I stand corrected. People do search like that. I just haven't. I mean, I use like Boolean operators and everything. I thought it was next level Googling.
All right,
Mildred.
Welcome, have a seat.
Oh.
Ms. Benefield, when we had taken that break earlier, I had instructed you that you're in the middle of your testimony. You still are, because now the state's going to have the opportunity to do its cross-examination. The rule of sequestration applies to you. You may not discuss your testimony, any questions that have been asked with you, anything about the case, including with your own attorneys and defense team. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Mildred, this is a
Otherwise,
great
you guys are free to
comment.
go.
Thank you.
And we'll see you back here just maybe a couple of minutes, as I said, state and defense, maybe just a couple of minutes before 1 o'clock with the goal of getting everybody up here and started right at 1.
Okay.
All right? Exhibits, the clerk's checking right now. Parties, stay still until the clerk tells me that she has all of the exhibits that have been entered or proffered. Wait, 4A through D, you had proffered, but then you took them back?
I believe she
Okay.
has.
Those are the same ones?
Yes, sir.
You didn't remark new ones?
No.
All right. What's your reason?
This is funny. See, if I were searching for myself on Google, I would say YouTube Recovery Addict channel.
I need 13A, B. Defense 13A and B. Oh, you know what? Those weren't admitted.
Right. Not admitted.
Right. No, so they weren't admitted. It was referenced and then that was it. Okay. All right. You guys are all set. Have a good lunch.
Thank you.
All right, as they go to lunch, we'll go ahead and I guess the judge is working through lunch. Everyone's filing out of the courtroom. There's Tommy. I don't know who the guy with the beard is. That's a fabulous beard, though. Looks like we might have Jules calling in. Dropped. The call dropped. We'll try again. They're going to be back at 1 o'clock. Right now it's 11:45 Eastern time. They are on Eastern time as well. They're going to be back at 1 o'clock, which is an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to be back in an hour. Whoa. They can't talk to each other about their testimony, but judges, it's weird that everyone's leaving and the judge is still up there on the bench. But he said it's lunchtime, so do your thing. Is Jules there at the trial? Yes, she is. She's our court watcher in the trial. I think we might have a couple other people who may be showing up as well. Let's see, check your messages. Sad that you guys have to remind me to do this, but let's see what we've got. We've got a copy of the letter that she wrote. That's not coming in, so I'm not going to read that as testimony. Breezy, thank you for the picture. I love it. I love the picture. Let's see, there was something else. Oh, we got an update. One of our favorite people in the world. Who was it? Let me see who it is. Who sent me this? Mandy. Mandy has been sending us tons of updates about this and corrections. And when I say something wrong, she's helped me out a ton, and I've made several mistakes in this trial already. So thank you very much, Mandy. But she also sent me a document from Sarah Boone's trial, and it is a copy of the document to waive speedy trial. And listen carefully here. The document was signed and submitted at a hearing that Miss Sarah Boone did not attend. We might have an issue. I'm just putting it out there. We might have an issue if that is the only document. This is a decision to waive speedy trial. He was lose your mind. A decision to waive speedy trial is something that only the client can make that decision. Your lawyer can advise you, but the client makes the decision. And it was signed. The document is submitted at. I'm looking here. I want to see the signature. I'm not seeing Sarah Boone's signature on it at all.
Call from
Jules, we've got a bad connection already, I can tell, but what's on your mind? Nope. Oh, that quick. It's not e-signed. I'll see if I can. Mandy, I'm going to forward this on. It's a screenshot from the MyClerk website. Let me see if I can send it to. Let's see. There we go. Send it to some people. Cindy RN, welcome to the gallery. Love the Green Courthouse. Thank you very much. Let's see, Misty says that first or second appearance is normally waived. By the way, I've never signed one of those, and I've been in the same jail as Sarah.
Call from
Jules.
Jules, I can hear you now. Jules, how are you doing?
Oh, cool. So Kelly was right behind me. She should be down any minute. Ashley? No, they're still up there. Yeah. Hello. First off, I have to apologize for yesterday. I did see someone from a distance waving at me, didn't know who it was till I got closer, and I kind of freaked out and hung up on you, and I apologize.
It's all right. We knew that you had seen somebody you recognized and you were excited about, so we're like, oh, she's happy. We'll let it slide.
Yeah.
I have to say thank you, Jules.
For what?
You didn't do it intentionally, but as it's cold in the courtroom and you brought your Recovery Addict hoodie, your zippered hoodie, as you stood up to put it on, you have to swing it around, and I've got a still shot of the Recovery Addict logo in the corner.
Really?
It was quick.
God.
It's not like super in focus, but it was great. Thanks for repping the channel a little bit unintentionally.
Well, I didn't do it on purpose, but it is the only warm freaking hoodie I have.
Well, I felt bad sending you a hoodie to Florida. Like, who's going to use a hoodie in Florida, right? But I'm glad you found a use for it.
Yeah, and yesterday, speaking of a hoodie, yesterday, this woman approached me, and she said, "You're in recovery?" I said, "Pardon me?" And she said, "What kind of recovery are you in?" I said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
She said, "You know, you're
totally forgot." Yeah, but it kind of went right over my head.
You're like, what is this crazy lady saying?
Yeah, and when I for the third time, I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, Your sweatshirt says Recovery Addict." I said, "Yeah, no, that's not what you think it is."
That's wonderful. So let's talk really briefly. I know you got to get lunch and everything, but
yes, I'm going to the infamous deli again. That's my new favorite place.
What do they serve? I mean, just sandwiches or soup salad?
Yes, sandwiches and potato salad, Mediterranean salad, Italian pasta salad, and soups. And it's a really nice deli. You get a choice of white bread, sour bread, rye bread.
How does it compare to the breakfast place?
Come on now.
Just kidding. That's the last. I ate lunch with Jules at the breakfast place when we were down in Florida.
And I'm having
fantastic
breakfast with Joe and Jack tomorrow morning.
Oh, awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of drama that happened there. Some filings. I'm not sure if we can get into that. But.
No, you and I can talk about it off air.
Yeah.
But I did speak with Jack. Jack called me last night. So, but no, we're on Black Swan Murder. Yep. What do you want to know? It was an interesting morning.
All right. We talked a little bit about the testimony, about the jury's reactions to the emotional testimony that was given. We've had a lot of objections since then. The defense is trying to bring in receipts. They're trying to back up the story that they've been telling about Doug, and they've struggled to do that. A lot of things have not been coming in.
A lot has not been coming in. However, some of it has. Now, the letter that his first wife wrote that Ashley found, came in. Well, I have to say that two of the female jurors in the front and one in the back row were extremely intrigued, to put it mildly. And that is the first time that I really saw quite a bit of emotion from them. Also, when the subject of the testosterone and the Viagra came up, a lot of head shaking back and forth. Now, I'm taking that as, and I could be wrong, but I'm taking the head shaking back and forth as an indication like, yeah, we don't approve this stuff right here. Like a negative towards him. That's how I'm taking it, but I'm not a body language expert.
It's interesting. We're getting some reaction, and I would say one thing you could count on if you're getting reaction from jurors is they're paying attention, they're listening, and it's impactful one way or another. A head shake and a nod is about the most blatant type of reaction you can get, where they're saying no or yeah, that's a good way to tell where they're at. It sounds like a couple people might be definitely
changing,
or on her side and saying, yeah, I can see this. Yep, I've heard this story before. This checks out. But
yes, but I could safely say I'm not 100%. Okay, but by judging what happened yesterday, there was a little slip on the prosecutor's part when they were discussing about coming in today and not coming in. But the jurors, there's some jurors who had schedules, and somebody said something about the alternate. And I think it's Ted. I think it's our Ted. I think he may be an alternate. So it appears that the alternates have already been selected.
Oh, so we might have an all-female jury.
Listen, with only 2 men, and you got 2 men,
and Ted's already
7
out.
Females. Yeah, so it is very possible. And not for nothing, I'm speaking as a woman right now. If it does end up being an all-female jury, I find that concerning only because women tend to be harder on women. They just do. Yeah. That's my opinion. And if everybody in the chat is going crazy, well, I'm sorry about that. But
we all share our opinions. You did it respectfully. That's what we ask here. So
yeah. But that has been my experience. In the workforce, work field, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I just find that women tend to be harder on women. Now, and yesterday at the end of the day, I was fairly convinced that she was not going to testify, although we know she had no choice. Yeah. In our opinion.
Well, there's some things that the defense needed brought in, and the judge, through his rulings, basically said that's not coming in unless she takes the stand. That's the only way. And so we knew that it was it was
so
key to defense.
I was pretty She is I don't know. I haven't been. I can't. I drop stuff in the chat when I can, but I don't know what our chat overall opinion is on her state of mind and her body language
we're very, very mixed. We have questions about her crying. To me, it looked like there were actual tears.
There was.
Okay. All right.
Yes. She was actually crying. She was trembling. When after the jury went out and she left the stand, I don't know if they showed her walking from the stand back to the table before the judge spoke to her, but her legs, she was not steady on her feet. And you have to remember, this was outside the presence of the jury. So, I know people may say she's acting this and that. Jury was not present. So that was my physical observation. Yeah. She normally exits the courtroom fairly quickly They did not. They stayed behind. Even the prosecutors left before her.
And the judge, last we saw, the judge was still sitting at his bench, still working on some paperwork. So.
Let me tell you something. The minute the doors open, you guys don't see it. You still have the court seal on. He's already on the bench.
Oh yeah.
He's sitting there doing work, and we're in there, and he's very pleasant. He's a Judge Carroll, as far as I'm concerned.
I love him.
Very
He's done
pleasant.
a great job.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry," yeah, because I dropped my pen on the bench, and it made this loud noise, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." He goes, "Don't worry about it. We're not on the record. Take your time." He's a pleasant fella.
That is awesome. We're expecting Cross when we come back, and it could be a couple things. They could come out of the gates, guns blazing, and just go at it. I think
here's my take.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's going to go after her hard, but I think she's going to have a soft start. But then she's gonna go after her. But she needs to be real careful. She was not, which I found. This is the first time on either side that I did not see the legal team, like I said, on either side, watch and observe the jury reactions the way I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? It just hasn't happened.
They're not paying
so
attention
she needs
to
to be
jury?
careful. No, they're not. They're not.
No.
They're just neither side is. So she better not come at her too aggressively, because the three women that I've seen that definitely, in my opinion, gave a positive response to her, they'll get turned off, because it's going to look like she's beating up on a battered woman.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. I've predicted that I think she's going to start softer with an attempt to discredit her testimony first. Okay.
Well, it's going to be hard to discredit the receipts. Okay, the actual receipts. You can't discredit that. The man admitted to what he did to the dog, the cat, the ceiling.
Well, we heard an objection where she said that's not what they say. That's not what these text messages say. So we're going to see that. Ooh, somebody just zoomed by you.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
But it's going to be spicy. I think we are going to see the same passion that we've seen in the objections, the same emotion we've seen from the prosecution in objections in the conversation with Ashley, and obviously her defense attorney is great at objecting.
Why are you just always in black? All right, listen, guys, have a great day.
Yep.
I hope you is okay with the updates.
Yeah.
Next break, I'll give you a call, give you an update, because I'm getting my lunch right now and I'm starving.
All right, enjoy your food. We'll see you, Jules.
Have a great day, everybody. Love you.
Thank you. Bye. All right, appreciate Jules calling in for that. We're going to take a break as well. Wrapping up our day. It's been incredible. This is day 4. We've had two people on the stand. First, Faith Brown, who was, I don't think she ever said it, but she was Ashley Benefield's lawyer. So we've had the lawyers from both sides represented on the stand. So we had Faith Brown testified about the emails about saying how the other attorney, Murphy, might have been untruthful in her statements, so that went to discredit her testimony. And then Ashley Benefield herself was called to the stand, and she's been testifying since then. Defense has questioned her. It's been emotional at times. It's been eye-opening. She has not pulled any punches, especially when she recounts what Doug said to her in some of the heated moments. Almost always it includes an F-bomb, which that's the first time we've heard them in this court. But it's going to be interesting to see how Cross happens next and see what they attack, because I think she has some credibility issues, or at least some areas where the prosecution can introduce doubt into what her statements were. So we're going to have that right after lunch. I'm going to go ahead and create the live stream now. I will say this: tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again. We'll be back in 45 minutes at 12:45 for part 2 of day 4. office just as soon as I get it scheduled. We'll make a see if we can do a portal to get us over there. We'll use the settings from that. It's going to be part 8, I think. There we go. Starting at 12:45. First person in chat as always wins the internet. If you want that to be you, you've got to be in there right now. Right now, because I'm just creating it now. Give me just 10 seconds and we'll have it all set up. All right, we'll see you after lunch. Oops, that's the wrong picture, huh? Would help if I get that right. Let's end on this one.
I think I'm about to catch a whooping.
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?